Okay. Did I do it right?
Uh,
Someone say in the chat if you can now see my beautiful face and hear my beautiful voice.
I can see you and hear you on my end.
Okay, amazing. All right, there he is. Hey, okay. Welcome everybody. I'm Phil. If you're new-ish to the server, it's been a crazy couple days, so not everyone knows maybe who Carson and I are. Carson is doing work, so he's gonna be throwing in some commentary as appropriate whenever he can, but he's doing the hard stuff, and I'm just gonna be hanging out with you guys. I'm gonna answer some questions.
It's a good representation of our normal dynamic.
Yeah, I feel like I say this a lot, but if anyone's familiar with the Family Guy joke of where it's like a cutaway gag to Matt Damon and Ben Affleck writing Good Will Hunting, and Matt Damon is like, Good Will Hunting by Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck is just on the couch behind him. He's like, uh, what about me? He's like, you didn't do anything. You just sat there, and that's me. I'm Ben Affleck. Carson's Matt Damon. But it's a good. We make a good team.
That's that's not actually true. Phil does a lot and he's wonderful. It's just a running joke.
um, All right, so we have a couple of pre-written questions that people have sent in. So I'm gonna just start hammering those out. And if anybody in the stream has any questions, just throw them in the chat, and we'll just have a little pirate party. Woo! Okay. Okay. The first question. Hang on, my setup here is just so wacky. Uh, what was the design behind the 5 pirate codes in the game? What would you define as the characteristics of each code from a design perspective, but also flavor perspective in the context of the Monster Coast? Um, do
First,
you
we
want
should say
to?
what colors are.
Oh, that's a great idea. See, this is why you're the Matt Damon of the group. Okay, yeah, if you aren't aware, pirates on the Monster Coast fit into one of 5 different pirate codes. There is the best pirate code, which is tropical. Those are orange pirates. Jolteon said, start with the ones that recently got renamed. Yeah, uh, sorry, I'll keep going, and then I'm actually going to
Okay,
end with the 2 that got renamed.
with you saying tropical, just since Corey can't be here, I'm gonna do the obligatory. Corey says tropical is the best pirate code,
And he's
along
right.
with you.
He's absolutely right.
Ah,
Um, are you okay?
is it the best?
It's the best. It's the best. So tropical is orange, and it's the best. Silver is heavy metal. Red is boom, and it's not the best. And then the 2 other colors have been recently renamed, and I don't know if these names are final, or we like them a lot, but we'll see where they land. Purple is spooky, and you specifically have to say it that way because some of the O's are capitalized and some of the O's are not capitalized, so
Yeah,
you have to
that's
say it
very
like that.
important.
Yeah, yeah. And then blue is salty. So those are the 5 pirate codes, 5 colors. And Carson, do you want to say anything about the like flavor or design behind them, or I can just launch into it if you're doing stuff?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the fun thing about it was the pirate codes, at least for me. I'm curious, Phil, if this was different for you, but um, like when we first started making the game, it definitely just felt like the Magic the Gathering color pie. We were like, cool, 5 colors. For me, I love red because it's just like fast and bombastic. And amazingly, our blue didn't go the same route as blue in. I guess it's a little control-y, but it's not the same. Anyways,
It's not
I
the
think
same, yeah.
the fun thing about it was it started from a place of what we knew in the past. The archetypes that we knew in the past. And it was really fun over the course of a couple of years seeing how the pirate codes kind of got defined a bit more. So like when you look at them now, um, like for example, the salty ships, the blue ones, or the salty pirates, they lean very much into like playing around with ship effects, or you know moving guys around, or kind of shoot, I had another one. Anyways, they do things like that. The red pirates, the boom pirates, they play a lot with like cannon fire and like big splashy numbers. Heavy metal, the silver pirates are just like brutal. They like hurt you and hurt others, and it's like great. Tropical is all about getting your fun little guys out there. I think there's only like one tropical pirate over +10, maybe even over +6. I
Yeah.
think it's just Commodore Kong. I don't think there are any other tropical pirates of more than +6.
No, I don't think so. Oh, I don't know if you can
Uh,
see the stream, the chat, but,
yeah.
is this where we see the table get flipped? We were promised a flip
No,
table.
I might need to do that tomorrow. My day just filled up with stuff. I will flip a table. I promise you. It will happen, but it might not happen today.
But it will happen. We promised the people a table will get flipped, but it's been, as you may imagine, it's
Yeah.
been kinda wild today and yesterday. It's been a wild week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you
And
said
then last, Spooky.
oh,
Spooky
yeah, yeah.
ended up playing a lot with both your Davy Jones locker and shanties. So
Yeah, I think that you kinda said it all. I feel like when we first started, yeah, we were like, "Well, there should be colors because that seems to be how you do these things." Like, Pokemon exists in colors and Magic exists in colors, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Kinda does too, although they don't really they don't utilize it so much. But yeah, I feel like it started as like a, "Well, let's do it because we should." And then I think it kinda took on a life of its own, and I do think that all of the codes have their own personality, and I think that kind of informs effects and like new characters, where do they get slotted into the pirate code. And something that I'm excited for, okay, Yu-Gi-Oh also has like the attributes which are like never referenced, like, fire, water, I don't know, earth,
yeah.
dark, whatever. They have archetypes too, which is actually, that's going to be a talking point later on in this, is because someone had asked about archetypes, and I think that's a really interesting conversation for Here Be Monsters. um, but as kind of a teaser of that part of the conversation, in the future, I feel like in earlier iterations of the game, we had more like pirate code specific stuff going on, and uh, we scrapped a bunch of it or we postponed a bunch of it, and now we just have some ships and the pirate life cards. Um,
Yeah.
but it's cool. I feel like we're setting ourselves up for interesting design space in the future, which is fun because we want this game to go on for a very long time.
Well, and I think one of the things
Uh,
uh
if we do name support, it will not be the way that Yu-Gi-Oh does it. It will be like one name, maybe two. So don't fret. It'll be cool. Um, uh,
sorry, I got distracted. I think one
yeah.
of the cool things that I'm really excited about is that what we sorry, I keep getting distracted.
It's okay.
The thing that I think works with like when we talk about pirate codes and when we talk about typal and stuff, you've talked a lot about the reason we're hesitant or we want to be very specific about how we step into pirate types and kind of tribal scenarios is given our card pool, we don't want it to just be like here are the cards that you play if you're playing this tribal deck, and that's the only thing that you play with that. And I think similarly, it took us a long time to figure out that playing around with the color pie and making it lead to interesting decision making as opposed to isolating stuff was really exciting. Because for the longest time, we had I guess this is kind of similar, but we had a card that was meant to be a figurehead on the front of a ship. I don't know if you remember that card, Phil.
Oh yeah, it was called Figurehead. Yeah,
Yeah, because we didn't have a picture for it.
yeah.
And it was basically like it was like a +4, but if you played it on a salty ship, it got like +5. Um, and that one just never really felt like it worked or made sense. But we recently updated the Colossal Five, so each of the pirate codes has a Colossal Pirate. You've got the Shipwrecks for Boom, the Shrimpviathan for Salty, um, the Mobile Sailor Gun Deck for Heavy Metal, Commodore Kong for Tropical, and the Plank Walker for Spooky.
Spooky.
And we updated them so each of them is a +15, which is awesome. But um, you it costs 2 orders to play if you play it on a normal ship, or 1 order if you play it on a matching ship to the pirate code. Um, and so that was just something that like started to lead to some interesting decision making, especially when you're playing like a draft or a renegade format, where it pops up and you're like, "Ooh, I could use plus 15, but I don't have the right ship for it. So what am I going to do?" Or, "Oh, I actually do have the right ship for it. Let me pick that up." And so that was just that was a nice twist on the things, I guess.
Yeah, I to me, it's like the right amount of that kind of thing to exist in the game right now. Because, like you said, with the card pool, like with our first set, and we had you mentioned earlier in playtesting, we had like if you have an animal pirate on this ship, it gets +5, or like all animal pirates, you draw a card when you play them, or something like that. And it became one of the really cool things about TCGs is that you can really express yourself through deck building. And when you've only got 180 cards in the pool, and 10 of them are the animal cards, and you're building an animal deck, well, your deck is kind of built for you, and that's not super interesting. Like Magic doesn't really have this problem because it's been around for so long. And I could have an elf deck, and Carson could have an elf deck, and there could be basically no overlap between the cards that exist in those decks, because there's just so many cards that you can pick from. And so the deck building process is not prescriptive in the same way, um, as compared to something like Yu-Gi-Oh, where uh, the Yu-Gi-Oh knowledge is very out of date. But like if you were making a Madolche deck, you're including all of the Madolche cards, and you're including like the 4 or 5 staples that go into every Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and now you're left with like 4 slots in your deck that you can actually be creative with. And it works for Yu-Gi-Oh because that's what Yu-Gi-Oh is, and I don't think it works for Here Be Monsters because it's just a very different kind of game. And I'm excited for when we have enough tools in the toolbox to be able to like do that, because I think typal decks and tribal decks are really cool, um,
I,
but
I
not for a little while.
I also think there's an avenue that we're starting to look into exploring when it comes to like organized play support, where for me, when I see like if we were to provide some like special cards for organized play that are, random tribal support, that to me becomes a lot more interesting, where it's not, "Oh, I built a deck to work well with this." It's like, "Oh, I opened up a stowaway box. We're just playing a renegade format. And now every animal pirate is better for some reason. And it changes the way you think about what you're pulling from the tavern and stuff like that." And like, so those areas I think could be really exciting and approachable things.
Totally. I think that that's the most exciting version of this at this phase in development, and I'm super excited to see that come to fruition, because I think we can do some really really goofy things. I played a lot of Hearthstone back in the day, and Hearthstone I feel like has a lot of things in that similar vein, where they'll throw twists into how the game is played, and it's just super fun. And I think that we can do something really really cool with that. Um, Yeah, sweet. Okay. Let's jump into the next question we got. Um, can you detail the process
You
of
you
how you
sound
became
you sound so official, just answering questions and stuff. You sound like a real like podcaster.
this is my Chuck Yeager voice.
Am
Ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna be answering the
am
next
I gonna
question.
need to go on a detour here for anyone
Yeah,
that
why
doesn't?
not? Why not? If someone
Okay.
if anyone tires of the vamping, just say so, and we'll go on to the next actual HBM related thing. But Carson, please go.
Uh, so I'm reading The Right Stuff. If anyone's seen that movie or read the book, it's all about the start of the space race. So it's like the test pilots post World War II, the first astronauts, yada yada yada. There's this guy Chuck Yeager, first man to break the sound barrier in powered flight. His name literally is Chuck Yeager, which is insane. Um, but it he I mean, he did some amazing things. He flew in 4 separate wars and survived them all. He still had his flying license in his like 80s. He outlived the actor who played him in The Right Stuff. Like, he only passed away in 2020. Dude's a legend. But he is the reason that all pilots, when you go on an airplane and they have that very like classic like, "Well, folks, welcome aboard, and thank you for flying." Like, it's that very like calming and kind of folksy voice that came from Chuck Yeager, because he grew up in Appalachia, and then he would go to, after the World War II, he went to this, the best of the best, and everybody wanted to emulate whoever was the best of the best, and Chuck Yeager was the best of the best, and so everyone started to kind of act like him. And then when they left the military and went into civilian aircraft, they just kind of disseminated that, and that became the norm. The kind of folksy voice pilot. So that's your fun fact. Anytime you hear it now, I want you to think of Chuck Yeager. We need a Chuck Yeager pirate, Phil.
Ooh, is
I
there
was actually
something?
I was
Yeah.
thinking about the Aracuda the other day, if you remember
Wow.
that.
I remember the Aracuda. I don't remember what it did. Aracuda was an old pirate that used to exist, and you did art for it, right?
And honestly, I might revisit the art because at the time I didn't like it, but in hindsight, it's literally an airplane with a face of a barracuda.
It's
And at
pretty
the
cool.
time, I didn't think it was very cool, but in hindsight, I think I may have just gotten in my head a bit.
Is first of all, that's crazy because that never happens. Second of all, is Aracuda the only pirate who got like full on art treatment and then did not end up in the game? Because there are some pirates whose art got like overhauled, but they're like, like Mr. Squidster still exists in a form, but Aracuda is just not there anymore. Is that the
I
only one?
I think Aracuda might have been the only one that I quote unquote finished and didn't use.
Yeah.
I don't know if like when I say finished, I got the art to a place where it could appear on a card, but for some reason I didn't like it. And so I kept reworking and tweaking. There were actually two different versions. There was an Aracuda that was just a single hull, and then there was the dual hull Aracuda where it was
I remember the dual hull. Yeah.
two Barracuda heads. I'll drag up that art and share it with everyone, and maybe he'll appear in set two, or I mean,
I feel
honestly,
like
maybe.
I feel like he has to.
Uh,
Actually, Jolteon, Mr. Squidster is not refronted. Mr. Squidster is the very first pirate that Carson drew. He drew it while we were on a stream together, and I got to watch the keynote magic happen. Mr. Squidster has evolved a lot, but Mr.
yes,
Squidster is now
Sea Dog
Sea
Squid.
Dog Squid. Yeah,
Um,
uh, went through a lot
so
of a lot of change between.
I'll need
Yeah,
to pull up that illustration and or that live stream where I recorded you and I doing it. I think for some reason when we started in my brain, because literally, like this is a history lesson, guys. That was the first day where Phil and I were like, well, let's make a card game. And I was like, great, I'll start on the art. And for some reason I had in my head that I was like, I don't want Phil to think like that this is just a me thing. So I want him to be able to like provide his thoughts and insight. And I think you seem so bored.
uh, I wouldn't say bored, but watching keynote art is
It's
you
better
know
than watching paint dry.
it's better than watching paint dry for sure. It's if you can't see the vision of what it's going to be, it's weird. It's a weird process to watch. I really think we should get some
Actually, do you want to? I can pull up a clip if we want to go
yeah.
on a little detour right now.
Yeah, we're this is built for detours. Yeah, and I think I have my little thing set up so if you share your screen, I can just jump right
Let
into it.
me, because I was just looking at some of them
Detour
this
me.
week.
We're gonna detour you. Sorry, keep going.
Also, for they call me Q. I'm glad you got your sea legs deck.
Woo!
Uh, and for Jolteon and Darth Prentice, yes. So if we do end up doing any kind of like cool surprise location stuff for Renegade and for like organized play, we will also our goal is to release that as well as like a print and play so that people that can't make it to organized play still have access to it. Um, it probably like will be a couple of weeks after organized play because we want people to get excited about going to organized play, but um, eventually it will all be available for everyone. Okay, do you guys want to look at the Apocalypse or the or Commodore Kong?
Is it a time lapse or is it the real time? Are we
Uh,
gonna be here for six
I
hours?
mean, I'll speed it up. I'll speed it
Okay,
up.
okay, okay, okay. My vote should be for Commodore Kong because he's tropical, but yeah, I actually agree. I think Apocalypse is gonna be more cool.
Okay. Let's see. I clicked the wrong button. Apocalypse. Or as he was called back then, Doomcoy.
I don't
Uh,
remember that. Wow. I do remember that he had an old name, but I don't remember it. Doomcoy? Really? That was it?
Well, that I mean, that was what I labeled the file because I didn't know what to call him.
I think it was enabled something else. It was sorry, it was
Oh,
named something else.
it was the Doom Shark originally.
I feel like it was something. I feel like it was you had the art. Here, let me see if my thing that I set up works nicely for this. Oh, look at that. That's so awesome. Seamless.
Hell
Uh,
yeah. So this is what happens every time I open Keynote is I get a new file that says presentation title and presentation subtitle. It's become a tradition that I delete those as like when I start. You can see over to the left, I've pulled a lot of reference images as well to kind of get me thinking. This is the starting. So I'll show you a clip from the starting point and a clip from like more towards the middle end. Um, and then hopefully I will actually like record some commentary for one of these at some point. So this is every minute is a second at this speed. So
got it.
this
Okay.
clip alone was an hour and a half, but it's only going to be a minute and a half.
Oh,
So
is this the entire? Did you get the
no,
entire thing done in an hour and a half?
no, no, no,
Okay.
no, no, no. This is one of 9 of varying lengths and times and stuff. So you can see how literally I just start with shapes. Like it's just it for me, it's just like blocking things out in my head and kind of being like, okay, like what fits where and like how do I want to do this and what's the general composition. If I'm really struggling with the composition, I'll actually export this out and put it into a card frame so that I can see like do the big shapes feel like they're working.
Can
Um,
can I ask a question real quick?
sure, yeah.
Now that people are seeing how the sausage gets made, someone asked us one time if as like an alternate art treatment for cards, we could do concept art. And it was kind of a funny question because concept art for most art in the world looks really cool, but concept art for this is what you're looking at right now.
It's
And
not
like
great.
which is just it's yeah, it
Like,
would anyone be interested in a card that looks like this? Basically to see like, for example, what a Potcoy Lips used to look like. If this was on your alt art card, would that be just a colossal letdown or would that be cool? Yeah, answer in the chat, Carson. Sorry for interrupting. Keep
no,
going.
I mean, I think we were even talking about at some point maybe doing like prints of the final illustrations, and then on the back having each like progressive step so that you could actually see like how it got to the final thing. Um, so, anyways, okay, so that was like the first hour and a half of working on it, and then I'll pull up a later one. Let's see, where's it good?
It's definitely different. That's very kind of you to say it that way.
Yeah, yeah, right. Uh, so here is here it is. So this is once I've like gotten the composition done and I've gone in and started to like layer in details and everything. I'm pretty sure during this minute and a half, I'll probably start on like some shading and stuff like that. Let's see where it goes. Um, yeah, so I'm just kind of playing around with some stuff in the background, the water in the foreground. Got a bunch of
Uh,
like
can
shit.
can you sorry, can you pause it real quick?
Oh, sure.
Um, just Alex is asking, you did that all with shapes? And I don't know, a lot of
Yeah.
people have joined the server recently, so not everyone knows that this is how every single piece of art in the entirety of Here Be Monsters is done. It is with shapes in Keynote. Um, everything that you see, everything in the Sea Legs deck, every promo, everything you see on like the website, the Instagram, all of it is done like this. It is crazy. Also, there's a question for you to answer in the chat, but we can finish up what we're doing now, and then we
Oh,
can
okay.
Andrew, we can get to your question.
Uh, oh, Andrew's here?
Different Andrew,
Oh,
our
different Andrew.
arcade Andrew 94.
I was like, last time our Andrew asked questions.
Yeah. Carson and I have a mutual friend who actually introduced us named Andrew, and he's a piece of work.
He is a wonderful, lovely human being, but he likes
Yes,
to see me sweat.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so yeah, here's the rest of this clip. Um, yeah, so so these end up being like the early ones probably were a couple hundred shapes, but I've gotten faster and more detailed, and so now they're like probably thousands of shapes. Um, there's
That's
actually
insane.
there is a special stretch goal Kickstarter exclusive alternate art um, that I'm really hoping we hit the stretch goal and all of you guys get this alt art that I did of Cannon Floof. Um, and it features uh, 34 different pirates as stuffed animals in the background of it. And that one took me a really, really long time. But
But it's
uh,
so good.
it's
It's
really fun.
truly so good.
So yeah, you can see. So right now I'm just like adding some like little reflective light. The main thing, like I've been using Keynote since I realized I've been using it since high school, just for like little things here and there. But I wasn't very good with it, and that's because I just didn't know a lot about art at the time. And so for the last 15, 20 years, like I went to art school, I studied traditional observational art, I learned how to use all the various platforms and stuff. And then when I came back to it, that's where I was like, okay, how can I apply that work to this? And so that's where I started to learn so much more about like reflected light and how to get metallic surfaces and stuff, which actually let me sorry, I'm still. I know I said I was going to just sit in the background and
No,
work on
no,
things.
please.
I got so distracted. So this is actually the keynote page for Doomcoy, Apocalypse. Um, so you can see like when we're talking about reflected light, that's where having these little white lines along the back edges. When you have metallic surfaces, the brightest light is hitting it from the front, but then there's always like an edge to it that catches a little bit of light to make it feel like it's reflective. And the thing that I really struggled with that I had to kind of get over was when you're zoomed in like this, you're like, wow, that reflective line is kind of ugly. But the wonderful thing about our eyes and how we observe things is when they get smaller, it becomes more like instinctual. And so just a solid line up close becomes like just this edge or this little like slight thing. And so that's something that I've really tried to lean into is kind of embracing that, adding textures, things like that. I mean, to be fair, I made this probably like 2 years ago at this point. Like I've gotten a lot better since then.
I think you did this more than 2 years ago. I feel like I was living
It
in
was, yeah, it
Boston
was a
when you did
while
this.
ago.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you look here, these are all of the shapes and lines that make
It's so
Aqua
nuts.
agents. So literally, it's like just shapes.
It's truly insane.
Um, but I think it's really fun if you look through it, you can just like see how things change, slide to slide. Well, oh wow, oh uh, this is back when Keynote had a flaw in it. Just one little issue back in the day, if you had too many shapes in the entire file, it started to do this thing where you actually like couldn't adjust points without adjusting everything. And so sometimes this is Doomcoy 2 because I actually hit a point where I hit that point, and so I had to duplicate the file, delete all of the old versions, and start fresh, or not start fresh, but like just with none of the other slides in there. So that's
Is
why it only goes back to here.
is that
Um,
still how it works, or did, like,
no,
an
no,
update
they,
change
they
it?
they fixed it. They fixed it. Um,
Who on the planet other than you has 500 shapes in one keynote presentation? Like, who are they fixing this for other than you?
I don't know. I don't know, someone.
Crazy. Crazy.
Uh, Anywho. Okay, sorry. So there was a question that came in, wasn't there?
Yeah, Arcade Andrew 94 has a question about
Oh,
art. I feel like you're the one to answer this.
not sure if this will be a tier on the Kickstarter, but do you think y'all would do contests or have other opportunities for fans to contribute artwork for alt art cards? I love the artwork and it gave me ideas like alt reprints in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Secret Lair in Magic the Gathering. Um, I think there's definitely an opportunity for something like this. Um, Probably more towards like the contests or the sweepstakes to contribute alt art for cards. Um, we're still figuring out what that might be. I think one of the things that we've definitely talked about recently, like because we really want to um we keep thinking about like what kind of experience would we want to have when we were kids. And so something we have talked about is potentially doing some kind of like whether it's like a contest or a promotion or it's part of the set, But like we would love to do something where like kids 14 and under can submit their art for a card, and then potentially we do like a limited run of that card, and with five kids artwork, and and then all of the proceeds from that would like go to like a children's charity, or something like that, but and then the other thing about it is we would want the fact that for kids that aren't that maybe don't make the top five, still putting their art into like an actual proxy file, so that every kid who submits a piece of art can um, like print out and proxy their version of the card, even if it doesn't get like an official printing. So that's some of the stuff we're thinking about, but we definitely want to do have more opportunities to bring other artists in. If you have any artists that you like, we're pretty locked in for set one in terms of the artists that we've reached out to and that we're going to be working with. But I'm always looking for new artists, so feel free to send stuff my way, if you're curious. Alex,
Totally.
awesome. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Oh, Luigi, yeah, Carson is just built different. He looks at shapes and thinks they can make a pirate out. Guys,
It succeeds
everything
every
can be
time.
a pirate. That's actually another funny story. Sorry, I keep derailing this, but I
Please.
remember like 3 weeks in, you and I like stepped aside and we were like, what if we run out of things to be pirates? Like,
Yeah.
was this too much of a niche, making things pirates? Ha!
Yeah, because
Uh,
like there, in Magic, like pirate is a subset of creature, and there's like a million other kinds of creatures. It's like, oh, are we pigeonholing ourselves if we can only do pirates? But yeah, no, it turns out truly anything can be a pirate. Animals, inanimate objects, various monsters. The world of piracy is deeper than you would maybe initially think.
it's a wonderful
Um,
place.
and Alex, just to Carson's hand drawn art is like excellent. He's an amazing artist. He just chooses to use Keynote. But like I've seen his sketches for stuff Here Be Monsters related and for just other stuff, other projects, and like it's really 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 good. But he does
Which
it this
okay,
way.
I will say on that note, which thank you, by the way. I don't think it's as good as a lot of people, but I I will say the biggest thing for me, if anyone out there wants to like be an artist, especially like doing fantasy and stuff out of your head, like truly learning how to do observational drawing is so important. Like I so did not want to do that when I got to art class in high school. And my teacher, Mrs. Skell, like all she did was observational drawing. And it drove me crazy until I started looking at my work and I was like, holy shit, this is getting so much better just by doing this. You learn so much about lighting and drapery, and just like seeing the world. And so taking those skills, and then when I make a made up pirate and I'm like, okay, where's the light source coming from and how is that playing across the body? Like it's from doing that. So do your fundamentals, I guess is
Do
what
your
I'm saying.
fundamentals. It's like that episode of Ned's Declassified where Ned wants to be a rock star, and his teacher is like, "You got to learn the scales, dude. You can't do anything until you learn the scales." And Ned's like, "Scales are boring." Turns out he was right.
Is that why I never became a rock star, because I didn't watch that episode of Ned's Declassified?
Didn't watch that episode. It was crucially important because the dude, the art teacher, I forget his name in the show, but he was played by the lead singer of the band. Oh my God, what do they call it? Everclear? They did like
Oh,
they did a bunch of hits in like the early 2000s, late 90s, whatever. They're great. Anyway, that's not important. That's not a Kirby Monsters related tangent. Um, but it's a great show. Check out Ned's Declassified if you can find it. Um,
Ned's
Okay.
Declassified.
Any other trains of thought we want to hop on? Everlast. Thank you. Everclear is the dude who did that song. Maybe then you might know what it's like. Yeah, Everlast. That's it, right? Hang on. Yeah, if you're how old am I? 31? If you're 31 or maybe 32, we're about the same age. I'm schooling to make sure. No, no, it is Everclear. I think Everlast might be the country dude. Yeah, we got there. We made it. Everyone should look up Everclear after this stream is done because they're really nice. I maybe
That
saw them in
sounds like
concert.
like a medicine.
It's well, it's also Everclear is like 99%. It's like an alcohol that's like it's like 198 proof or something like that. Uh,
Jeez.
which if you're balling on a budget, you know, this is. I hope everyone in the stream is over the age of 18. Anyway, we'll go on to our next topic. Our next question rather. Okay, can you detail the process of how you became partners with Team Covenant? Um,
Yeah,
Yeah, so Team Covenant was on our radar for like forever because they're huge and they're awesome. Um,
yeah.
and Carson and I I feel like it feels like if you could picture two girls in like an 80s movie with their like face down on a bed, like on the phone, legs kicked up, talking about like their dream crush. I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if Brad the quarterback asked me to the dance? That's how we described like what it would be like to work with Team Covenant. Like, oh, wouldn't it be cool? But like he doesn't even know I exist. He's like I bumped into him in the hallway the other day and he just kept walking. Not that Team Covenant did that, but that's what we would expect that interaction to be like. It was based. That's a stupid way of saying that we just like we really really wanted to work with them, but in the same way that like anyone who plays high school football wants to play for the Patriots. Like sure we want to, but of course it's never going to happen. Um, but they had a thing on their website. I don't know if they always had this or if they like this is a recent thing and Carson saw it and was like, oh, if you have a game, like a demo game, or if you have a game and you want us to like demo it, play it, whatever, like send it to us. Um, and we sent a copy of Here Be Monsters to them, and Carson, fill in any gaps if I'm getting this wrong, but you included in the box like a note, just saying what the game was about and what
Well,
we were
so
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
so first they emailed us back just being like, "Pirates are awesome," which was a good first sign.
Yep. Yep.
And then they were like, send us a copy of your game to try. But they were like, it'll probably be months before we have a chance to look at it because we have so many things to look at. And so yeah, we were at a stage where we had some copies of the game and stuff, and I was like, I just want to put our best foot forward. So I like wrote up a note to them, just kind of explaining like our history in the game and all of that. And then I proceeded to do that classic art project where you like I soaked it in like tea and coffee and made it all brown, and then I singed the edges of it, and I went through multiple sheets of paper because the fire burned into the text. Like it just it's really hard to get an even edge to a sheet of
Yeah.
paper. But it was a really fun time. It was fun little arts and crafts. And so we sent that to them just because, from my perspective, like, like we want to be really good partners to whoever we're working with. And to me, it felt like sending them something like that. Like I wanted to let them know that we would take the extra care to kind of go the extra mile wherever we physically could. There are obviously areas that we can't, but like, we try. And yeah, you can take away the rest of it.
Yeah, so we sent in the demo with the singed coffee stained note. Um, and I forget what the exact timeline was, but we had initially intended on launching this Kickstarter basically a year ago. And for numerous reasons we postponed and then we were originally going to do it summer 2025 and then we were going to do it like late fall or winter 2025. But kind of as we were moving towards that date, Covenant reached out to us and they were like, "Hey, we want to get on the phone with you." And I forget what their email said at first, but it was phrased as such that like it wasn't clear why they wanted to talk to us. And like presumably it had to do with the game that we sent them and like a potential partnership, but they didn't indicate that. So it felt like when the principal emails you and is like, "We need to talk." Or like your
Yeah.
boss is like, "You got to come to my office." And we're like, "Are
So
we in trouble?"
well, it was that they had mentioned that they were like, look, it when we sent them the game, they were like, cool. When we take a look at the game, like if we like it, we'll reach out to have a meeting to discuss, possibly working together. If it's not for us, we'll send it back to you. And so and so Zach from Covenant had reached out to us, being like, "Hey, we'd love to find a time to meet." And that was it. That was the whole email. And so Phil and I, like at this point, it had been like 2 or 3 months since we had sent the materials to them,
Yeah.
and so we'd kind of forgotten about it. So many other things were cropping up that we were, dealing with and taking care of. And so it's I remember we like were excited, but we were like, but what if it's not about that? Like, what if we hop
Yeah.
on and they're just like, the gameplay's great, but pirates just aren't for us, or like, man, love the art, but the gameplay's just not right, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so we hopped on with Zach, and uh, we were talking, and I think it was like the third question that he asked, where he just kind of paused and he went, "So, am I understanding this correctly that you made all of the art in PowerPoint?" And like at that moment, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like this is a
Like, we
good
got him.
conversation.
We got him.
We're in a good spot. Yeah, God.
Yeah, and so at the time we were intending on launching, which when this phone call happened, we were intending on launching within, I don't know, a month or two from that point, and they were like, hey, like we want to partner with you, we want to support you, we want to do all X, Y, and Z, everything that you've seen them do over the past week. But they were like, but our schedule, like we have stuff that we're supporting basically from now until May or June of next year. Would you guys delay until then? And I was like, this point in time, I was like like a rabid dog trying to get off the chain. Like I was like, no, we're release the game. We're doing a Kickstarter. But we didn't do that, obviously. And we decided to, slow play it, partner with Covenant, and it's been like, I mean, it's been awesome. I feel like half the people in the stream right now wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Covenant. um, they're just like they're awesome. They're so smart. They've helped us out with how to position the game, how to productize the game, how to just like eke out the like really squeeze all of the fun that we can, get all of the fun off of the fun fruit, get all the juice out. And they're also just so cool. Like we had the
Yeah.
pleasure to go out there for a couple days and meet and greet and talk and everything. And it was awesome. It was so cool. When I got back when I got back home, I feel like I just spent like hours gushing about the experience to my fiance. It was like I made so
Oh,
many
oh,
new friends and they were so
Phil's
cool.
fiance texted me saying how much Phil has been gushing about it.
Did you really?
He
Yeah, I
did.
mean, it was like all I talked about, and it was. I actually went straight from the Covenant meetup to a wedding, to my future sister in law's wedding, and like it was great and it was so much fun, obviously. But the whole time I was like, I want to talk about Covenant. I want to talk about Here Be Monsters, but this is not the time or the place. But it was just so cool. It was so
Uh,
cool.
yeah, and I think like it's worth mentioning that so it's like it's always weird when you meet like parasocial relationships are crazy, where like so much more about someone than they know about you, in like that kind of like fan supporter kind of way. um and like I just not only was it great meeting Zach and Steven, but the team that they've put together there, like it is just so full of genuine people
Yeah.
that like after 2 days, I felt like I was friends with all of them. And I was like, oh, when am I gonna see you again? Um, and like I was freaking out about design stuff the whole time, and I still walked away with that that thought in my mind. So like, yeah. Um,
uh,
yeah.
we got a question that's relevant to what we're talking about now.
Oh.
Congrats on the upcoming launch. Can you guys talk a bit about the sending out of the trial decks in order to generate interest? Was that
Hmm.
something you were able to do because of your partnership with Covenant? And after we answer that, there's some more to the question, but that's a good jumping off
Totally.
point for now.
Um,
Um,
yeah, do you want to speak to that?
yeah, so they pitched this idea to us. They were like, "Yeah, we've done this in the past. We're kind of doing it now with, well, what were they doing with Gudnak and Eidolon and Warlord? Is that right?"
Uh, No, Alpha Clash, Warlord, and
It was
Good Neck at the
yeah,
time.
Canuck.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. At the time, yeah.
and they
Um,
had done it with Hubworld Eidolon
that's it.
previously.
That's it. Um, and yeah, so they pitched that to us. They were like, "Oh, this is a great way to like, if someone's on the fence about whether to back or not, well, what better way to hook them than by, letting them play the game for essentially free." Um, and I mean, it turns out it was an amazing idea. Like,
Yeah.
I'm obsessively there's like a little dashboard where we can check to see how many demo decks have been shipped out, and I feel like I've been checking it like I would be checking like a heart rate monitor for a dying relative. Like my eyes are always on it. We've passed 1,000 demo decks that have gone out, which is just absolutely unreal.
And
Um,
and to be clear, that's 1,000 demo decks. Like we've sent demo decks out to like
mhm,
content creators and friends. It's 1,000 on top of that.
yeah,
So there
which
are like 1,500 of them in the wind.
is crazy because I when we this is when Carson and I were talking about how to execute on the demo decks and like how many to print, how many to buy. It was like really daunting because this is our first time working with a proper manufacturer as opposed to just a print on demand company, and there's like so much that goes into it, and we're like, oh, like I don't know, how many people are really going to get these decks because no one's ever heard of us before? Should we get a lot? Should we get a little? And we ended up getting a lot, and like thank God we did because like we've sold a lot or we've given a lot
Yeah.
away, which is awesome. And it's really cool because now we can continue to give these things away at conventions. We can give them away. We can give them to stores as like a trial thing. We can give them to so many people, and this can be like a really really cool like entry product into Here Be Monsters, which we had other versions of what that entry product would be in the past, but now we have something that like it already exists. We know it's good, we know it works, and we feel comfortable giving it to people basically for free because we're so confident that it's like really fun and people are going to play it and they're going to love it. Um, yeah, I don't know, Carson, if you share this feeling, but I was like terrified sending all that money to a manufacturer with like guaranteed to see no return on any of it because we're not making any money off of them.
Well,
Um,
I think for me that what got me most excited was the fact that it would give us a chance to try out our manufacturer. You know, I've done some big projects before in like the film industry and stuff, and like the thing that scares me the most is having not gone through the process. And I think especially when you look at a lot of Kickstarters, you have a lot of first time creators that like have to learn the hard way when they're delivering their Kickstarter. And I'm not to say that we're not going to make a lot of mistakes because I'm sure we will,
for
but
sure, for
like
sure.
it was so nice going through the entire manufacturing process, but like with a smaller product that was like, okay, cool. This like if something goes wrong, like it's fine. We're handing these out for free. I had to. This might surprise you guys. This truly might surprise you. I had to create a pipeline to take the images from Keynote into CMYK print files because amazingly, no one on the internet had done that before. So I had to figure that out for myself, and I was so glad that I could figure that out for the demo decks as opposed to waiting until we got there.
Uh,
So yeah.
Sorry, that actually, if you have more stuff you want to say on the demo deck, go for it. But that actually is a perfect segue into the next part of
Oh,
uh, Kukin's question, which is, can you speak a little bit about the card creation process after the art is created in PowerPoint? Which,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think the irony is it's been so long since we've like created a proper card because I think I did the last like proper card art like a year ago. Oh, well, no, we did Prow Wow Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, anyways, it's in the early days, it very much felt like we would come up with cool effects and like rough ideas, and we would be play test like our early play test. There were like 3 pieces of art in there, but we'd have like 40 cards. Um, and at least from my perspective, Phil, it felt like it was kind of a 50-50 where like usually when I did a piece of art that I thought was really cool, we'd very quickly come up with an effect for it. But by
Yeah.
that same token, we'd also just come up with cool effects that we thought were cool, and then occasionally we would do a piece of art to fill that effect in some way. Like Mr. Manty. Mr. Manty, we had that effect for a long time before we put down Mr. Manty.
Yeah, that's I totally agree. I think it's like 50-50, a total smorgasbord of what came first, like the name, the art, or the effect. And it's yeah, so some pirates like we've had I'm trying to think of what effects we've had in the game since like day one. I feel like we've had Cannon Bully's effect in the game.
Yeah,
I literally think
yeah,
since the very first playtest we did
I think
five and a half
so.
years ago. And I don't know if the name Cannon Bully existed at that point, but the art certainly didn't. The art didn't come for a long time after like we knew what this card
No,
was.
actually, Cannon Bully was the fifth pirate I drew.
Whoa, there you go. Well, still, we had the effect in the name, at least the effect before we had the art. I think we had the name.
That's true.
Don't remember.
Yeah.
Um, well, that kind of then also segues a little bit into the last part of the question. Can you speak to what you've found helped you the most in balancing your game? Is it by feel, or do you do things by numbers and formulas? Yeah,
uh,
that's sorry. Please go.
I
Yeah,
feel like it's very much by feel. Like I think that the important thing to recognize is Phil and I are not trained game designers. We did not go to school for it. We did not take classes in it. And so our process is a long one. We've been working on this for over like 5.5 years at this point. And that's because really early on in the process, we basically for I think it was almost 2 years, every Wednesday we would hop on a call, play Here Be Monsters, and then at the end of the call we had like a little form where we said who won that game. I remember winning almost all of them, I think, if memory serves correct. I think
I
I
don't,
think I
I
won
don't,
almost all of them.
I don't. Can we pull up that form? Can we pull
You
that
mean the
bad boy
form
up?
that I have control over? Yeah. um,
Grr.
and anyway, but basically we would just write down like what was fun and what wasn't fun about that experience. And so it forced us to really step into a lot of avenues where we were really questioning like why games do things a certain way, and did we want to do that as well? Because if you've played the demo deck, like you'll see Here Be Monsters plays very different than a standard TCG. And like that wasn't because we sat down and we were like, we want to make something different. Like it was really that we sat down and over the first couple of months, we started to come across a feeling while we were playing that we were like, we want to chase that feeling. We want more of that feeling. And we actually had some great experiences where we made major rule changes. And we got to the end of the game and we were like, this is a lot of fun, but it's not Here Be Monsters, like where we were really starting to recognize, oh, there is a specific feeling that we're trying to chase, and that wasn't it. Um, and so, yeah, I think with all of that, like the way we figured out the rules was definitely feeling it out, playing around with things. Yeah, the feeling of being a pirate. Um,
Literally, on the form that Carson was talking about that we filled out after every game, it was like part of the form was pick the of these 10 or 15 like sentences, pick the three that most applied to this game. And some of them were like something felt broken, like I had a lot of fun, I felt bored, and one of them was like I am a pirate now. And I feel like that one always got checked. And I kind of think it shows. Someone on was it on Smoo Cube's video? I think I don't know. It's on one of the videos that we have. Someone commented like this feels more like One Piece than the One Piece TCG, and like I I could not possibly imagine higher praise than that. But I think that is because we've spent literally 5.5 years trying to capture the feeling of what it means to be a pirate on the Monster Coast.
and I think the last thing that I would say is like if you're looking to get into design or really just like any creative space, the most important thing, bar none, is learning how to deal with feedback.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
like it is really hard. Um, just because like the thing that you read that over time, because Phil and I both have dabbled in a lot of different artistic fields. And the thing that you realize is people are really, really good at noticing when something isn't working. Um, but they're not always as good at noticing what isn't working about it, simply because they don't have the know-how with you there that you have with it, because you've spent so much time with whatever the art endeavor is. And so that is something that I think, you know, I mean, I remember the first couple of times we showed it to complete strangers, like it was so stressful. And
Yeah.
every time you
Yeah.
get any kind of feedback, you really are catching yourself of going like, are they trying to make it more like the game they want it to be, or are they actually identifying something that needs to be addressed? And like I think all of the best parts of the game really came from someone calling something out, you know?
Yeah. But I think that's a really, really good distinction that you hit on of like people can tell if something isn't fun or if something isn't working or something feels like, like you're bumping up against the experience that you're supposed to be having. But I feel like that experience that you're supposed to be having that they feel like they aren't getting, their solutions to get to that are going to be different than your own because like if someone really likes a kind of game, their solutions are going to be to get you towards that kind of game. And whatever game that other people are trying to make or want to be playing is not necessarily the game that we want to make and that we want to play. So yeah, I think learning to like parse the information out through criticism, also just being able to like handle criticism, like being able to handle
Yeah.
when people say like mean things,
Oh,
not even mean things, just like not sterling things. uh I it's
it's it is so easy to shut down when someone
Yeah.
comes along and says like, "Oh, this isn't working," and it's so easy to like give into that feeling, be like, "You're wrong and stupid," and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's a
I
hard thing.
I was part of a writers group for a couple years, and we would like we would basically read out sections of a scene, and then everyone around the table would give feedback and criticism on it. And one of the things that I think was so excellent about how they did feedback was when feedback was happening, the people giving feedback were not allowed to ask questions to the writer, and the writer was not allowed to interject or defend or like anything because like whatever defense you have of the work kind of doesn't matter because what you need to listen to is the experience that people have when they engage with the work. And yeah, it's so easy and you just so badly want to stand up and be like, "Oh no, 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 no. Well, actually you didn't understand what I was doing. I was trying to do this." But it's like, "No, if they didn't feel what you wanted them to feel, then there is a disconnect and you know, they don't know how to solve that disconnect and you don't necessarily know how to solve it, but you ultimately will be the person who knows how to solve it best." Um,
Yeah.
um, okay, we got a question from Hunter Solomon. Question: Do you have the lore planned ahead? Does the lore affect how you design the cards or the effects?
Ooh.
Which I think is a super interesting question because I'm curious. I know you were supposed to be doing like work while this is happening, but I so if
I
you
am.
okay, 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 okay.
Actually getting
Um,
some stuff done in the background.
oh, amazing, great. Um, I think the answer is I think when we were talking about where a card starts, it typically starts with either a name or an effect or art. I feel like it doesn't typically start with lore. Um, but there have definitely been cards where like the card exists, we have the art and then we attach a name to the art and then we attach an effect to the art. And then as we're playing it, maybe we're like, oh, this effect isn't as fun as we want it to be, or it isn't working as the way we want it to be, or something is broken. Uh, and I feel like a lot of the time what happens is when we're reworking an existing card, we'll kind of look at what the character has become, whether or not there is like bolted down, written like etched in stone lore around this character yet or not. There's generally an idea of kind of who this character is and what their vibe is and what their role is on the monster coast. And I feel like in those scenarios specifically, the lore definitely impacts what the card effect is. And I also I think the reverse is true, where if we have an effect that is an effect and a name and art are all married and it works, I feel like a lot of the time the lore uh, the lore comes up through that. Like if they do a thing, like if the feeling of seeing a card, if seeing a card invokes a certain feeling in the player, that kind of informs the feeling that they inspire throughout their relationships across the Monster Coast. So I definitely think that there's a relationship between like lore, effect, art, and all that, and it kind of depending on the card, it goes in waves as opposed to what of those elements is in the forefront in the driver's seat, and then at some point in development, it may lose the driver's seat to one of the other elements, and it changes a lot, and it changes from card to card.
I agree. I think a good example. So my philosophy with a lot of the lore is, oh, this is like a big philosophy of mine.
Oh, okay,
Um,
let's hear it.
I I feel like our generation um has oh, sorry, Hunter's follow-up because is like their game. Their it's game first, and lore is just the side stuff, and the game where lore affects the game stuff. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I have this feeling that a lot of people in our generation, at least, love the idea of world building for world building's sake. That's Brandon Sanderson. I know you've listened to Brandon Sanderson's like lectures, and he talks about like world building disease. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
where it's like it's more exciting to create the world than it is to actually like tell the story or do whatever it is that you're doing. And so I actually made a very distinct point early on in the process. The first like couple of weeks that we were working on the game, I got so excited about the game that I was just doodling sketches of pirates day in and day out. And after like 2 weeks I stopped because I was like, as soon as I came up with the sketch, I had no motivation to do that. And so to actually like take the time to illustrate it. So I ended up saying like, okay, I'm gonna stop planning out this world. Like, I don't want this world to feel organized in that way. I want it to feel random and scrappy and like because to me, I feel like that's where the real like feeling and excitement comes from is when pieces naturally start piecing together. And so, for example, I'm gonna share my screen here. You guys are gonna get a quick glimpse of a lot of different guys. Um, so Captain Laserbeard here. Um, if you can
yeah.
I get a
You're
little
good.
closer? Okay, I can't
Uh,
get
it,
closer. So
it's good. We can see it closely.
So Captain Laserbeard was the sixth pirate I illustrated, and I made this little logo for his hat that just felt to me very much like a metallic piratey kind of vibe. And I didn't think too much about it, but like I kept it in the back of my mind over the next couple of years. And when I would illustrate other guys like Apocalypse, I would put that same logo on the side of it, where I was like, cool, it's some kind of robot faction. But sometimes, like with N Cross Away here, I would forget how I drew it. And so this version, you can tell it's more of a triangle as opposed to like this kind of angular shape to it. And so that's appeared on a couple of different characters. Who else? So like here, so like Lobster Tank, you can see it on the flag in the back, the little tiny icon. Whereas Lord Voyager has his belt is the more stylized one. And so just kind of on a whim, I hit a point where I was looking at this and I was like, well, there should be a reason for it. There should be some kind of lore-based thing. And I was like, okay, well, what if Captain Laserbeard has his like army to take over the world? And what if these are the like different versions of that? And so it became that this old logo with the lines, that was the first reign of the Expanse Armada. And then he was defeated, and he's been rebuilding his army. And his new army is the second reign, and the second reign is the more stylized logo. And so it just became this like random little piece of lore that we then I start talking about the fact that it's like, okay, well, lobster tanks have the old logo, so they were part of his army in the past. But nowadays, like these lobster tanks are just scattered across the monster coast. Most of them have run out of fuel because it's been 200 years since that battle. Whereas N-Cross Away is a newer member of the Expanse Armada, all of the N-Crosses. And then, we decided that Captain Laserbeard has this like science advisor and he created the N-Crosses and like it became a whole thing, as well as the Apocalypse. We decided the Apocalypse was the big bad that Captain Laserbeard was using to try to take over the Monster Coast, and he ended up getting defeated at the Battle of Eternity Point, and so he's trying to be resurrected. But anyways, so like that, just all of these the pieces started to kind of like fall into place the more we just kind of naturally let things move along. Where like at no point am I sitting down going like I want to design a new character for the Expanse Armada, but it's like I might be drawing something and go, hey, this kind of fits with the Expanse Armada, and it just like it all starts to kind of play together more and more and more. And similarly, like another example of it, the boatload buster here. This is the Flintlock Furies ship. Wherever these guys, the Flintlock Furies. Um, and when I was designing the Flintlock Fury ship, I was like, wow, this little skull on the front looks kind of like the Expanse Armada logo, but not quite. And so then I was like, okay, well, what if they have an alliance with Captain Laserbeard? But they don't seem like they would. Oh, actually, there is an Expanse Armada logo up there on a flag. Never mind. Um, and I was like, okay, well, so what if what ended up happening is Captain Laserbeard convinced these Furies to leave their Fury Island of Themyscira, which there's a whole thing there. They're kind of like Amazonians from like Wonder Woman. And what if he convinced them to fight on his side because he claimed that he was the good guy. I don't know who would think he was the good guy, but so they left Themyscira to come fight for his side, only to realize they'd been duped. And so then they turned around and decided to join the good guys. And so that's why their logo is kind of this like mishmash in between kind of vibe. Anyways, so that's a really really long detour of how I think about lore. At least I don't know about you, Phil.
Yeah. No, so I've been taking some improv classes and doing some improv recently, and I've been writing since forever. And the more I get into just the world of storytelling, the more it's like the more details you provide, the more you can just listen to your own self, and like details will naturally come together. And if you continually ask the question of like, well, if this is true, what else is true, like because of it, or what else makes sense because of it. And I feel like that kind of line of thinking is how so much of Here Be Monsters has come up. It's like,
Mhm.
you because you are just a good artist, you populate your imagery with fun details and Easter eggs that aren't really even Easter eggs yet. They're just fun, quirks of the drawing, or quirks of the character, quirks of the art. And if you do that long enough, you can like the like Pepe Sylvia red lines start connecting themselves basically. And when I write, it's really really fun when that happens. And it's really really fun to see that in your artwork, and to see that just like evolve throughout the world of Here Be Monsters. I am in total agreement. I think it's really really cool when that happens.
I also will say there are enough Easter eggs that we've dropped in set one that I do want to like turn into pirates for set two. So like I am really excited that you guys are going to hear about some characters in lore, and then we're going to get to introduce you to those characters in the game for set two. Um, so yeah, we'll see how all that plays out.
It's gonna be. I'm so excited for set two. I should not get ahead of myself because set one, like, is the most important day of set one is tomorrow. But set two is gonna be great too.
Yeah,
Um, um, all right, shall we go into another question? Um, we touched on this a little bit, but we can just kind of go over it again. What are your current plans for organized play at LGS's? And I just got my dinner delivered to me by my better half. So I'm gonna turn off my camera for a minute so you guys don't see me slurping down some pasta.
I need to make some food. Yeah. So organized play. Uh, I really, in general, like you'll see on the Kickstarter tomorrow, I really want to refer to organized play as community play as much as possible. Um, Basically, just because we want to kind of set the groundwork that um, we appreciate competition and we think it's really cool and it's really great to see a game kind of push to its limits. But I also think, every single trading card game out there does that, and that there is a space for um here, let me turn on my camera so you can see someone. Hopefully I don't look like a crazy person. Oh, it's the wrong camera. Hold on. Camera. Camera. Um so I'll leave my camera on while Phil's off camera. Um, yeah, so we really want it to be focused around community. Like you can play competitively if you want, that's great. But there's so many games out there that are focused on the competitive side. And so doing what we can to create a space for people that maybe don't want to play competitively, but they still love the game, they still love interacting with the game. So as of right now, our plan is to kind of promote like three big events a year, so instead of like a weeklies, because that can be intimidating for a lot of people to commit to going to play a game every single week. um, Doing something that's more kind of seasonal, but making it more exciting and more tangible to go to. And so right now what we're kind of thinking about is doing things similar to what we had talked about with like the tribal stuff earlier on, where basically the concept at this stage, and we'll probably be talking with the community more about this, is you show up to an event. It's like there's an event every like 3 months, just to kind of break it up. And we each person gets a tavern tale. And so what a tavern tale is it's basically alternate rules for the game. Potentially, if we hit our stretch goals, it will also come with some special alt art cards that kind of fit with that tavern tale. So, for example, you'll see on the Kickstarter we have an alternate art of Sword Beast, the best pirate in the game, who it's called the Feral Sword Beast, where he's kind of gone crazy, and the story behind that is there is an island called Fair Isle, Feral, where the legendary flaming Hydra, it's this crazy Hydra flamingo that's disastrous, it's causing all this havoc. And so Sword Beast is sent to that island to take care of the legendary Flaming Hydra, but the island corrupts him and makes him go feral, as well as his crew of coconuts, and some other people will have some feral cards, which is fun. But the Tall Tale is basically about feral Sword Beast facing off against the legendary Flaming Hydra. And so the Tall Tale card would have alternate things that affect that, and then you would get alternate art cards of Feral Sword Beast and Legendary Flaming Hydra like facing down against each other. Um, that's the hope, where like you can show up to one of these events and just play competitive, or you can play something like unexpected that that's kind of different. And just especially because we're only doing one set a year, we wanted to kind of inject things into the community where if you want something a little bit, maybe you're 7 months but into the year and you're waiting on set two, and it's like, okay, well, here's a new way to play. Here's something that spices it up, that makes you look at certain cards differently. Um, and then the other really fun thing about organized play, you know, we uh, we've talked. You may have seen a little bit about the treasure card aspect of the game, where basically in the booster boxes you can get these buried treasure cards, and if you find the three matching alternate art cards, you can mail those four things into us, and we'll mail you back a cool card. Um, we want to take that further for organized play, where organized play is going to be the only way to get full art cards in the game, because we really want to reward people who like show up with a group and a community, yeah, like a decoder ring. um, and so basically these will be, they're called glorious treasure cards, that you only get at organized play events, and instead of 3 cards it's 5 cards, and if you find all 5 of those and mail them into us, um, you get to hopefully, if we hit our stretch goals, we want to make it that you can actually pick one of 5, one of 10, whatever the number is, alt art. So you can, when you send it in, you're like, oh my god, there's a sword beast because he's the best pirate. There's a sword beast full art card. Like, let me check that off, and then you'll get sent back a sword beast full art. Um, so that's kind of our hope, especially because when you get those treasure cards, you're then sitting down with a group of people, and so like you can start trading immediately. Um, that being said, like also the way Covenant's Fulfilled system works, which if you haven't read about it is awesome. Check it out. There is a world where we might open this organized play space up it for like friend groups that want to play that like don't have a game store near them that's going to be hosting an event. Um, so that's something we want to explore as well because we don't want anyone not able to participate because there just isn't a store near them to do that. You know, but if you have a group of friends that would get excited about this, you know, that's something we want to explore. There probably would be like some kind of minimum product that you would have to order to like make it make sense for us to send you the additional stuff. I don't know. We still have to figure out that and the numbers. Um, but ooh, should I? Okay, guys, this is special just for this stream. Okay, can everyone promise you're not going to take screenshots because I want this to remain secret?
This is going on YouTube after it's done. I can blur it out. I can
Can,
put a little
can
black
you
box over
actually
it.
blur it out?
Surely there's a way to surely, yeah. How hard could it be?
Okay.
Like after the fact, like when I'm upload before I put it on YouTube, I can
Um,
probably I'll just cut out whatever stretch of time
yeah.
this is.
Okay. So to see how full arts worked, we did a test. And I would like to show you that test. Um, so we have a pirate called Zombui. Um, that is one of our favorite pirates. He is such a goofy little guy. Um, let me quickly pull up.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say if show the alter or the standard art before you show the good stuff, the secret stuff.
But yeah, so this is going to remain secret, guys. We're all agreeing here, not not to take screenshots. Um,
This is exclusive for all of you who are here right now.
and
No
I'll
one else
probably
gets
share
to
it with
see it.
Corey when he watches back because I'm sorry you couldn't be here.
Or we don't
Uh,
have to. How funny would that be? All right.
all right,
One
so this
second.
is Zombui. Um, so wait, what did? Sorry, I'm missing. Outside of major communities, have you thought of working with or getting people who can bring demo decks to LCGs or learn to play sessions? Yes, Dylan, we would love to do that, and we have so many demo decks that we can make that happen for.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Cool. Yes. So this is Zombui. We love Zombui. He is a zombie who just loves friends and flotation. That's all he wants. Um, you can see he's a +0, which isn't a lot of firepower, but when he's destroyed during your next turn, you get to board him onto a friendly ship. So if you get 2 or 3 Zombuis out in the first round of a 3-round game, he is so good because then you just always have pirates to go around. Jolteon in the chat has really been destructive with Zombui in the past. So, anyways, that's normal Zombui, and then just to see how the full art kind of experience worked, I played around with this version of Zombui, just
I'm gonna.
relaxing in the sun. Um, so that's. Oh, can you?
Yeah, I just put it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, yeah. So that's this is potentially the full art Zombui. Just for you guys. Don't tell anyone about it. Um, and he's got his little ducky. And
He
oh,
looks
and
so good.
his detached hand is giving a little thumbs up there in the water. Um, so anyways, I just want to show that to you guys. Um, I'm really excited to our philosophy with alternate art as well is like I don't want I don't want to do alternate art that just feels like you can't decide between the original art or the alt art. Like I want everyone when they look at a character, they have a very clear like this version of the character is my favorite or the best or is interesting. And so that means showing the character in different scenarios or different sides of their personality or bringing in artists that can like bring other things to them. And so like I'm probably not going to do all of the full art cards because it's just so much work. I gotta get started on set two. Um, yes, yeah, the Tommy Bahama shoot does go crazy. So so we're probably going to bring in other artists to do that. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to show you guys some of the artists that we're working with. There's some wonderful, wonderful people. Um, yeah. Sorry, that's all I got, Phil.
Um, no, sorry, I think that's great. I was just looking at the next questions we have, and you still have I assume work to do on the Kickstarter, so I don't want to take us too late into the evening, so maybe I can do one or two more questions. Um, oh, okay. Sorry, Luigi. Similar to the Tavern Tales, would you still do those team up cards? If so, can you explain what they are to new people? I'm assuming you mean the like, I think it was called like Mystical Whirlpool. It was like the polymerization cards. The
Oh, I actually don't think that's what Luigi's talking about. Those
oh
are cool.
oh, you're talking about
Remember that like holiday random crazy event where it was like, oh, when these cards interact in this way.
yeah. They had like special powers together. Yeah, yeah. I think that would be a super valid thing to be part of these tavern days.
Yes. Tell about the whirlpool cards though.
Yeah, sorry, the whirlpool. That wasn't on stream. I guess that was just you and me.
Oh yeah, this was a
Yeah,
long
this
while
is
ago.
so we've done a lot of weird stuff. One of them being Carson made basically like fusion monsters for HBM, where he took a handful of the pirates that just weren't getting a ton of play, and
Yeah.
for one exciting night only, you could fuse them into like super pirates that had just absolutely bonkers effects, and it was like not at all, workable for standard gameplay. But it was a really cool idea, and I think there's a possibility that we'll do something like that in the future because it was a ton of fun.
Agreed. Agreed. I would love to. There's a world where like we have certain like kind of I don't want to say gimmicky mechanics, but there is a world where each set will have like a little something that's kind of like new or different.
Yeah,
In the set we have surprise cards, um, and so we might do something where like the next set has like squadron cards and mystical whirlpool cards. Um, yeah, the mystical whirlpool cards were just so insane.
so insane.
But like there was something so fun in Yu-Gi-Oh about like imagining these two guys. Mostly it was like this guy's riding on the back of this guy. Like I wanted like a sword beast on the legendary flaming Hydra, like ready to go. Um, and that actually wasn't even one of them.
But it
Oh,
could be
and
in the future.
yes. So Hunter Solomon brought up, will you have a website with info of the factions and or a map, perhaps? I would love to get some like lore there about factions and whatnot. In terms of a map, I am actually like halfway through a map right now. It's not all of the Monster Coast, but it is part of the Monster Coast. And I will say that map actually has something to do with one of the three secrets from the booster boxes. So you guys may not have seen, but basically, not only are there buried treasures in the booster boxes, but every couple of months between the release of set one and two, we're going to reveal some hidden secrets in the set that we're not going to tell you about until then. Uh, just, you can do with that what you will. Like, if you want to explore the secrets, cool. If not, like you don't have to. It's not like gameplay related. It's just kind of fun. And one of the secrets does actually revolve around this map once I get it done. Um, but that's all I'm going to say about it.
I also I just want to throw this out that there's almost no way that we do what I'm about to say, but I really want to. But we would have to just do spectacularly well on the Kickstarter. Um, to kind of one of our like philosophies behind collection is to not just reward people who spend a lot of money because that is like really unfortunate
Did,
for the people who
did
can't.
Luigi just read your mind?
Kind of. I mean, okay, first of all, yeah. An ARG, for those who don't know, an alternate reality game. It's
Augmented.
no, sorry, augmented reality game. It's just like a fun way to extend the world of a story or a game into like your actual life. So like if anyone played Overwatch, there's a character who's released called Sombra, and before Sombra was released, and kind of a gate that was had to be opened before she was released, if I remember correctly, was there were a bunch of like cryptic puzzles and riddles and weird like glitches in code because she's like a hacker character, and the community had to like solve these riddles before Sombra was released, which is so cool. So something that I would love to do, this is kind of part of that and part of the idea that we want to reward not just money spent but time put in and effort put into collection. I would love to go around. If anyone's familiar with geocaching, it's basically there's an app or something where you get like instructions and directions on where to go to find like a buried capsule or a hidden capsule in the real world. So like I've done this around the Boston area, and there's these big parks that you go into. And yeah, it's a real life treasure hunt, like a real life treasure hunt where you're basically given a map. X marks the spot. And what I would love to do is to go around to probably the only feasible way to do this would be to center it around LGSs or, as Carson was saying, play groups that are supporting and doing the tavern tales. And somewhere within like a I don't know 10-mile radius of that LGS or that play group would be to like do the geocaching thing, hide some either treasure cards or rare exclusive cards or something really cool, and literally hide it in the real world. And a real human being like you would have to go follow the map and follow the riddles and find it. And like, it's almost certainly not going to happen because there's the travel for us to like plant these would be prohibitively expensive. But there's maybe ways that we can do it, and I just think it would be so cool because like
I,
treasure hunts are
I,
awesome.
I think one thing that actually could work well with something like that is um, we've been in talks about yeah, Suicube community run could be really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I had that thought. Yeah, like
yeah,
LGS runners
um,
or community pillars or whatever.
yeah, but we've talked a lot with Covenant about like we really want to do an event for people to come to, like once a year do what we're calling a port of call event, where it's just hanging out and doing Here Be Monster stuff all weekend. And we'd probably like reveal the next set there, do some fun crazy stuff. And I could see an event like that doing some kind of in-person treasure hunt thing, whatever that
Totally,
might be.
totally. And I kind of also want to do a small version of it. We're going to be at PAX East in April, I think, of next year. And I think it'd be really cool to like, yeah, I don't know, hide a card somewhere in the convention hall and give people who come by our booth a little map or riddle or something to go find the card. I think that'd be really cool. Um,
At the end of the day, we're just looking to inject a little bit of whimsy into the world because
whimsy and also specifically whimsy that doesn't involve you looking at a
yeah.
screen, like you engaging in the real world, engaging with your real friends in real life or making new friends or going new places. um there's so much that does cool things online or on the internet, and that's great. But you know there used to be a world outside of your computer.
No,
Remember
no, there
remember the days? Those
What are
of
you
us who
talking
are old enough to remember Everclear remember that there was a time before uh, every moment, every free moment, your eyeballs were on a screen. So yeah, we want to inject whimsy and we want to inject like a little like go forth and explore. Sponge Barbarian push-up challenge, absolutely. We're also trying to get yoked. That's what this game is really about. We're trying to get swole, dude.
I don't even know if Sponge Barbarian's anatomy would allow him to do push-ups.
I feel like his upper body is so big that his feet would just be like dangling in the air.
He's so top heavy.
So top
Actually, this
heavy.
is vaguely unrelated, but for new people, you may have seen this in our interview with Suicube, but here's I'm working on 3D printing a bunch of these guys. So here's a 3D printed coconut guy. There's crocheted coconut
Crocheted
or
coconut.
cro, cro,
Cro-
crochenut.
Croconut? Croconut seems
Crochenut.
good. Yeah, all right.
So here is Captain Laserbeard. Um, he's my favorite. There's a video on Instagram of me reacting to opening the box, and I just freaked out because I just love him so much. Also, just some visual storytelling here. So he was originally created by an AI thousands of years ago called the Mother Aboard. Yeah, and she created him, did this whole thing, then she disappeared, and he kind of went crazy and became evil. And he, was trying to take over the Monster Coast, and in the process, he got defeated by Gunpowder Sage Blast Mode, and it blew off half of his body, so he lost his legs and this arm. But the materials to recreate his original body weren't available, so he used his resources to cobble together this body, and so that's why this arm is kind of weaker and he's got treads instead of legs. But I specifically love how he's so utilitarian and just doesn't think these things through, that he had the smaller treads on the same side as the small arm and the big tread on the side of the big arm, when it would have been so much more balanced to swap the two. Like, that was an intentional thing, because I was like, he doesn't think about that. At no point did he stop and go like, this feels more balanced. He's just like, I need to get places to fight things.
That's our Captain Laserbeard.
Oh, and if you look closely, he's got the second reign of the Expanse Armada logo on his power pack, because this was added later. But on his hat, he has the first reign, because that was, he still has that from back in the day. So, visual storytelling.
Was there a greater thread that we were answering there?
Talking about, I have no idea.
Who knows? All right. If someone wants some part of that question re-answered in more detail, go ahead and ask it. If
Well,
not,
I think it was just community play events is what we were
oh,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
There will be community play events
Yes.
to answer your question, maybe. Um. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. We've kind of talked about this, but we can go over it again. Given that you originally planned to launch the Kickstarter over a year ago, but plans were delayed and or changed for a variety of reasons, what have been a few things that you have learned in this time that have been helpful during this process?
What haven't we learned?
So true. My biggest takeaway is that I don't know how all of the people here in this stream right now heard about us and joined up with the Monster Coast. Um, it was probably not through advertising for most of you, because I'm really bad at making advertising, is what I learned. That
Uh,
people go to school for
that's
this for a reason. Uh, I learned that, like, eh, thank goodness for Covenant, because they opened up our, like, they widened our net by such a wide margin, and
yeah.
I couldn't possibly do this myself, because I am
Well,
not good at this.
I think there's also an aspect to that of, it
Thank you,
is hard.
Luigi.
What did Luigi say?
Luigi, you came in from the T-Rex meme. The T-Rex meme, we have a love-hate relationship with the T-Rex meme, which
Yeah.
is not an interesting story. It was people would click on it a lot, and then people wouldn't like continue down the rabbit hole very much. So we didn't know whether or not we should keep using it. But some
But
some of our core people, I think, did come from it. Sorry, yeah, I can go for
no,
it.
no, I think that one of the main things that I learned, yeah, thanks, Sukube. I think one of the main things I learned about advertising is, it is really hard to advertise something that is trying to do more than one thing differently. It's like, when you're doing one thing differently, that becomes your selling point. Where you're like Cataclysm Arcade. I'm sure everyone's heard about that. Like, that has been everywhere. It's millions of dollars in Kickstarter. Their whole shtick that they promoted everywhere was, um, play out of one booster pack. Everything you need to play in one booster pack. That was their thing. And I feel like I've learned over time that, we kind of did this the wrong way, quote unquote, where we sat down and just made a game that we loved and had so much fun playing. And then, we had to kind of backtrack and figure out, like, okay, who's this game for? And, like, what's the point of
Yeah,
it? And I remember actually being asked by a family friend, before I left LA. So this would have been like in 2022 or 2023. I was telling her about this game, and she was like, "Oh, so who's your audience?" And I was like, "Well, everyone can play it." And it was such a, like, in hindsight, I'm like, "Wow, I really knew nothing about this." And I think that was like, we've gone back and forth about exactly what our messaging is and whatnot. And it really has been great over the last couple of months, I sat down and I made I think it was like what was it, like a 75 page
Oh my god, yeah.
document.
A messaging brief.
Yeah, we the Covenant team started calling it the manifesto, which I love. I think that's hilarious. Um, but yeah, it was really long, but it really broke down like this is why the game was made, this is who the game was for. These are the things that we want to do differently, or this is how we're approaching this, yada yada yada. And then, after that, I proceeded to tighten it up into a clean, I think like 30-page document.
Yeah.
I think Swoocube has seen it, so I think it was 30 pages
It's
roughly.
something like that. Somewhere in that
Yeah.
ballpark.
Um, so anyways, I think that was, geez. I mean, there were so many learnings over the last year. Um, I mean, I loved making the demo decks. That really. Oh, okay. Wait, no. Actually, here's the biggest thing. Not the
Okay.
biggest thing, but the thing that
Okay.
I've been thinking about a lot.
Yeah.
So we created this game because we were kind of frustrated with the trading card game space. Growing up, we uh I've seen pages 1 to 7 and fell asleep.
So
Uh,
valid. So
so
fair.
valid, so valid. Uh, we fell in love with. We created this game because we loved the trading card game space. Growing up, the idea, like the identity expression of being able to create a deck of the cards you like, and then sitting down and playing a game with like rules that you like, kind of had a vibe in, or a character that you really liked. Like, it was such an incredible concept, and I loved them growing up, but I felt they were so gatekeepy, like especially as a kid. It's like I would constantly look around to other communities that, like, I would want to go play, but if I didn't have a meta deck, if I wasn't up to speed on things, it wouldn't even be fun. And so the idea of spending hundreds of dollars every 3 months just to stay up to date with the game as a kid was crazy. I never even thought I could buy a booster box as a kid, and so I think early on, we were kind of pushing back against the idea of a trading card game, where we were more interested in this idea of like a living card game or an expandable card game. We were like, that's more of what we want to do. But by the same token, I didn't even think about this until recently. We couldn't point to a single living card game or expandable card game that was the kind of vibe that we wanted. Like every living or expandable card game that I explored felt very crunchy. It felt very competitive. It like, really had a lot of like gristle to it. And recently, Zach and Steven from Covenant were doing a podcast, and Zach just made a comment out of the blue where he's like, it's so counterintuitive, but living card games actually attract more competitive people than trading card games do. And so the model actually lends itself more towards the hyper competitive person in general, broadly speaking. Whereas the trading card game model, like, the randomness allows a certain level of balancing with the different levels of skill that people have when they play. Um, and so I think that was like a big eye-opening moment for me of like us trying to find a nice balance between the two, where it's like you can get a full play set and play the game the way you want to play the game, but also having that limited environment, having that randomness in certain situations actually makes the game more approachable. Um, as long as you're not priced out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And I feel like we would not have come to understand that without the help of Covenant, which is one of
Yeah.
the many, many things that they have been so just like instrumentally helpful with. Um, yeah. Um, all right. What's our next question? Perhaps our best question. And we only have one more after this. So if anyone in the chat has any burning questions,
Why do
now
I
is
think I
probably the time to put it in.
requested this?
You probably know what this question is. The question is, will Phil be one of the alt artists?
Oh, oh, that's not. I thought the question was going to be, why are 3 coconuts the right number of coconuts?
We can answer that question too.
Well,
Um,
I just for people who are new, there has been a raging debate in our community for 6 or 7 months
yeah,
about whether 2 coconuts or 3 coconuts is the right number of coconuts to play in any
and
deck. So just I'm just saying this so that if you see any propaganda in either direction,
just
that
for
is
context, coconut's effect, if you don't know, when you spend an order to play coconut, you can for free grab another coconut from your deck and also board it onto that same ship. So the question is, yeah, do you only have two coconuts in your deck, so you do that and then you don't have any more coconuts in your deck, or do you run a third coconut because you should because coconut's a good time? And whether or not it's the strategic thing to do, it's the vibe thing to do. Coco, Coco. Oh, this is here. Let me. Oh, is that the right direction? No, it's the wrong direction. That's Coco.
Coco.
Named after coconuts, obviously. Um,
Yes.
so
Um,
yeah, the whether two or three coconuts is the age old question of the Monster Coast. The other age old question is, will I be an alternate artist? And the answer is kinda. Yeah.
this
Uh,
is
the,
yeah, go ahead, Phil.
yeah. If any of you, those who are new to the server, if any of you were here before the stream started, I like to just throw open whatever internet version of MS Paint there is and just do some doodling. And someone asked me to do a coconut, I think, and
Uh,
so I did that.
we were waiting. I was getting like a game set up, and so we were just
Yeah, yeah,
vamping
yeah.
for a couple of minutes. And
And
uh,
the greatest piece of Here Be Monsters art was born. Um, and
it truly is fantastic, Phil. I think about this card all. It's literally on my desk in front of me, and I just think about it all the time.
it's
Um,
and one of because I just had time to kill while I was doing it. Um, the coconut is obviously a coconut, but also there's a sun in the corner, and the sun is also a coconut. Also, I think the cloud is a coconut, and
yeah, out of space at least.
yeah. And basically, what I've decided is that coconuts canonically believe that the sun is like coconut prime, and it is the destiny of all coconuts to return to coconut prime, and so that's why they're sailing.
Coconut crying.
Yeah, for lack of a better term. And these coconuts are hitting high seas, hoping that they'll get to the sun. Maybe presumably because like if the sun is on the horizon, they're like, all we got to do is just keep going straight, and we'll get there. We'll get there, you guys. We just got to keep going. And they haven't done it yet, but maybe some plucky coconuts will in the future. Who knows?
So my favorite pirate is Sword Beast. Phil's favorite pirate is Coconut. Sword Beast is the seventh pirate I illustrated. Coconut is the eighth. So we always talk about that as like the perfect week of Here Be Monsters where I drew the two of them. Um, and so Phil's whole vibe is very coconut coated. So this is the original Coconut. I don't know if this is yeah okay it's
Yeah, yeah, you can
my
see that.
camera's
Yeah,
flipping it, but and then for a Secret Santa one year, I drew this one for Phil as a Secret Santa gift. So this is Phil's
so good.
coconut. And the
It says
background says
yeah.
every ship should be a friendship. Uh,
We might have some coconut lore that is going to get dropped soon. I don't know
oh,
if you saw the
we
revisions or not, Carson.
are no. I need to go take a look at it. Phil wrote an amazing piece of lore called Coconut's Day Off, and it is so funny. And I cannot wait for you guys to see it.
It's
We've
fun.
kind of realized Phil does the humorous lore. I do the sad, mopey, dramatic lore.
You need to
Very
have
like
both. You need to have
whoa.
both. How
Okay, wait.
does
What
it
did Dylan
feel?
say?
Yeah, how does it feel to know you spent hours slaving away in Keynote on 200 plus illustrations, but Phil's art will be everybody's chase? If I could answer that one, it feels really good. Feels really, really good.
I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine. That's
I
fine.
look if this is my one and only visual stamp on Here Be Monsters, I'm pretty thrilled with the result. I think it's pretty cool.
I absolutely love your actually it was so great. I was hanging out with some friends and we were talking about Here Be Monsters and we were like looking through the art in the binder and so one of them went, "Wait, do you have a Doodle Bob card?" And I was like, "Yes, we do have a Doodle Bob card." It was like such
Oh,
a
we do.
proud moment. Yes, Luigi, you are a proud owner of
Yeah,
that card.
won that in the
Uh,
raffle, right?
Yeah, I think that was so we over the holidays, you might see if you go to our website to or actually on the Discord, there's a lore section. We have a piece of lore for Saint Stern and All Harbors Eve, and that's basically our pirate holiday. So we did a little raffle last year and sent out some prizes, including a Saint Stern card. So this is Saint Stern, the spirit of the holiday. She's not tournament legal because she's a legend. So legend cards with the legend typing are not tournament legal. Not that we're necessarily doing tournaments, but she's a +0 that just says when played, all players may take a moment to celebrate the people who are special to them. Happy All Harbors Eve.
Oh,
And so our hope, at least my hope, is that every year we do some kind of celebration for All Harbors Eve, including get a different artist to do a Saint Stern card. So if you wanted to collect all of the Saint Stern cards across all of the years to celebrate All Harbors Eve, you can. So yeah. Oh, and no skip the person who just commented, I crave more lore. We would love to show you more lore. We've got a couple of things kind of geared up. We have a lot of lore like written out in rough stages. We need to actually just like turn it into written stories.
yeah.
Um, so my hope is during the course of the campaign, I want to try to share the lore for the Seastress, Madame Crossbones, which I think you said
Mm,
this, Phil, but I think Madame Crossbones lore is one of my favorite
yeah.
lore that we dropped. And who's the other one?
Hops?
No, we already did Hops.
We did
Oh,
hops.
I think you were gonna write a Hop
I was
story
gonna maybe do another hops one. Yeah.
because my Hop story is so serious. There's so much more to Hops's life than his origin. But his origin is a little dark, ish, a little dark-ish.
Darkish.
Uh,
That's okay.
and so I'd love to show more of his life and experience.
And we will. And we will see the life and experiences of many other pirates, I think. It's so much fun to like, oh, we know the lore for orangutan. We know his deal, but I don't know if we've written anything. Or I don't know
Uh,
if we plan to write anything for
I can tell you right now
go for it.
the big picture of it. Orangutan, he lived with a whole bunch of other orangutans deep in the jungle reef, which is the same set of mountains that Monkey Bones lives in. And there's going to be an additional gorilla ape pirate in set two that I don't even know if I told you about, Phil, but I came up with the name and I'm like, that is a great name. I'm going to hold on to that and
Ah,
surprise you.
I hate surprises.
So basically, if you guys know the card Monsoon Force, which is in the demo deck, the Monsoon Force is a storm that came along and ran across Jungle Reef and basically lifted orangutan up into the air and carried him for miles and miles. And when he crashed down, he was completely separated from the rest of his tribe. But he came across a ship that had crashed into the trees from the storm, and that became the Treehouse Hullantine. If some of you may know about that ship from previous versions, but that's his ship. And so he just became fascinated with the ocean because he got carried by the storm. But he's really scared to go out in the ocean because that's where storms are. And so you guys, you guys need to help orangutan get over his fear. You need to help him get out on the ocean and realize that being a pirate on the sea is great because he knows a lot about the ocean, but he hasn't been out there. So that's my
Beautiful.
little orangutan feel.
Um, we are. It's almost 9 o'clock Eastern. So we have one final question. We can read it off, and then we can call it quits for the night. Um, why is the game called Here Be Monsters?
Great question. Um, do you want to explain?
Yeah, it's on old timey maps, where beyond where the cartographers had been and seen, and they didn't know what was over here. They would write, or I don't know if they actually did this in real life, but at least on like cool, fun piratey maps, they would say, "Here be monsters." Like we don't know what's out here, um, and I mean that's the land of the unknown. I feel like that's kind of the land of the Monster Coast, and so Where be monsters? Well, they be all over here. Here be them.
Yeah, sometimes it was written as "Here There Be Monsters," um, which actually I remember I told you this name very early on, like maybe a week or two into it, and you were like, "Yeah, it's okay. I'm sure we'll come up with a better name."
I now I can't like it's so good. I love the name.
Yeah,
That's so funny. I don't remember that. But I believe you. I believe you, but I have fully changed my tune. I think it's a great name. I just
yeah,
think it's great. I think it's a great game. And I'm just so happy that we've had so many people on the stream to listen to this. This has been a lot of fun. There's
yeah,
there's
yeah. Thank
so
you.
much fun stuff to talk about.
Oh, I know. I could literally talk forever about this because it's been 5.5 years of our lives.
Seriously, man, it's been a long time. Um, well, I guess to wrap it up, again, thank you everyone who is here. Thank you to everyone who has been in and out throughout the course of this stream. Um, and please, tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon Eastern time, open up Kickstarter and throw us some love, whatever that means for you, whatever you can or want to support. Um, this has been like this has been a crazy journey for Carson and I for the last 5.5 years, but then also the last like week since the Covenant drop, and just so many new people are in. We've, as I said earlier, we've pushed out over 1,000 demo decks.
Yeah,
The number of people who are following our Kickstarter has well over tripled in the last week, which is like crazy. It's so cool to see what's happening, and um, yeah, thank you to all of you for being here and being part of it.
and truly, just for everyone who has tried out the demo deck, given us your thoughts, reactions, especially everyone who's like played it with their kids or their nieces and
Yeah,
nephews or their partners, like that means so much to us because we felt like there was a space in the TCG sphere that wasn't being met in terms of like games that you could play with your kids, your partner, your board game friends, whatever it is. And so it just it feels so validating to see that come to fruition. Um, and like those are the moments that get me choked. I sent a text. I think Swoop Cube. It was your message about playing it with your kids, specifically your like 6-year old who was just making up stories for the characters.
yeah.
Like I thought that was so great. I sent it to my dad because we were just chatting, and he just wrote back. He was like, "Oh my god, it brings tears to my eyes," and I was like, "That's how I feel."
It is. It's like it's so surreal and it's so cool. And like I feel like you and I have known that this game would be a hit with kids for so long, but we haven't had like we don't have 5 and 6 year old children. It's been so cool to see you guys playing with your kids and to hear the responses that they're giving, and it's like it's unreal. It's awesome. Um, so yeah, let's we're tomorrow 12 o'clock Eastern. Luigi, yeah, let's get funded within the hour. I mean, that is the hope. We're going to be sending out an email blast, I probably tomorrow morning, and then if you're following the campaign, you'll get notified right when it opens. Uh, if we can get fund, I mean, the quicker we get funded, the better it is for like the algorithm and everything. So, um, yeah, if it is within your means to do so, and if you have the time and the energy, please come check it out when it opens up and support us. And yeah, that's all I got.
And thank you all again for everything.
Seriously,
Yeah,
thank you.
it means the
All right.
world.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And
As we like to say on the Monster Coast, the Monster Coast slogan
oh
is
wait,
"Grab a
hang on.
friend." Oh,
I was gonna say sorry. When you say it, should it be like dun 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 dun, dun and then I cut it, or are we gonna like because that's kind of a bombastic finish? Or no? Okay, never
sure.
mind. Never mind. No, 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 no. Okay, we'll just say it and then we'll continue vamping until we're done. Okay.
Usually, what we say is "Grab a
Grab a
friend,
friend,
set
set
sail,
sail, and have an adventure.
have an adventure."
Uh,
So, anyways, I hope you all grab a friend, set sail, and have an adventure. And we will be in touch soon.
Yeah,
I'll
you'll
be
be
up
hearing
late
from us a lot.
on Kickstarter stuff, but
I'm going to bed because my bedtime is 8:30.
I what?
I get tie tie. Friends grabbed, sales set, adventure had. There might be a
Well,
delay. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you guys.
Oh,
We'll talk to you soon.
yeah.
And yeah,
Have a good night,
I don't know how
everybody.
to end things. Ending
I don't
things is
know.
hard.
I know. That's why. Yeah, we should have ended this 10 minutes ago, but I don't know how to end things. All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna
End.
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 Bye. All right, I'm just ending it. Good night, everybody.